After defeating a demon and perfected his cultivation at a young age, the Heavenly Emperor decided to ascend him to the Heaven Realm to become a member of heavenly officials. But he became a laughingstock because he was banished twice. 800 years later, those in Heaven Realm were shocked after they felt a tremor. They all knew that the shaking would stop immediately when someone ascended from the mortal realm, but this time, the shaking lasted a little longer. When they looked at who came up, they were surprised because it turned out to be Lien, or the Crown Prince of the Xianlu Kingdom. A few moments later he was greeted by a heavenly official, named Wen, and congratulated him on his victory as the most anticipated officials to be kicked out of the Heaven Realm. Because of this, he would be granted 100 merit credits. Wen also informed him that because of the shaking earlier, he also had disturbed some heavenly officials. To show his apology on what happened, he would need 8.8 million merit credits. But since he did not have this many merit credits, Wen thought of a way to acquire them. Wen told him that many northern worshippers were currently asking for help from heavenly officials, and they prayed to eliminate the so-called ghost grooms who were taking away the brides. If he could complete this mission, all the offerings of the worshippers would surely go to him. They talked to the martial gods to ask a favor if they could let them borrow 2 martial officials who would accompany Lien on the mission. But the martial gods just laughed at him for being a heavenly official who had nothing. So Lien apologized to the martial gods that he had offended, and it turned out to be General Jin who was hurt when a bell fell on him, and General Nanyang whose palace was destroyed due to the earthquake. But in the end, none of the martial gods volunteered to help him. Because of this, he went to the mortal realm alone to begin the mission. When he entered the mortal realm at Mount Yujun, he decided to have tea first. He tried to ask the owner of the restaurant about the strange happenings in the place, but he refused to talk about it. Lien suddenly noticed a silver butterfly, and Wen spoke to him using the telepathy matrix to inform him that 2 junior officials from Middle Heaven were assigned to be with him on his mission. These were Feng and Fuyao, who were sent by General Zhen and General Nanyang. When they came out, they saw a group of men heading to Mount Yujun who would try to catch the ghost groom and get the reward from the families of the kidnapped brides. But there was a woman, named Ying, who wanted to stop them, and the doll that was supposed to be used as a bait by these men fell off. This angered the leader, named Peng Tu, so he pushed Ying away. Feng was about to interfere with them, but Lien quickly took action to attack Peng Tu. Peng Tu had his men attack, so Feng showed his strength. Because of what they witnessed, Peng Tu's men immediately ran out of fear. Before they left there, they asked the owner of the restaurant where they could find the temple of General Mingguang, but he told them that he only knew General Nanyang's temple near them. At night, they went to the temple of General Nanyang. Lien wondered why there was no temple for General Mingguang when he was assigned to the North Mortal Realm. He borrowed mana from Feng, then he informed Wen about it, but she too was surprised when she heard this. Wen got some other information about the ghost room, so she told Lien about it. Based on the information given by Wen, Lien immediately spoke to Feng and Fuyao to plan their next step. They decided to imitate Peng Tu's strategy, but instead of a doll, they would use a real person as their bride. Then Feng and Fuyao suddenly thought that Lien would be perfect to pretend as a bride. When they executed the plan, Peng Tu's group saw them and decided to follow to Mount Yujun. A few minutes later, Lien suddenly heard what sounded like a girl laughing. But his companions could not hear it, so Lien immediately thought that it was only meant for him. After a while, the wolves in the forest suddenly appeared to them. Feng and Fuyao fought them, but when they were done, scary creatures that looked like zombies suddenly came out. One of these zombies insisted on entering the sedan chair, so Lien used his weapon and attacked it. Then he told Feng and Fuyao to leave him there. A few moments after his companions left, a man came and took him. Liao went with him, and then he immediately attacked the man, but it quickly disappeared and turned into silver butterflies. He wondered if that was the ghost groom that they were looking for. After a while, a butterfly returned. He followed it, and in the distance, he saw the Mingguang temple. When he entered it, he saw the brides who had been abducted. But all of them were already lifeless. He heard the sound that he had heard earlier, and when he felt that someone was coming, he pretended to be one of the dead brides. When it got close to him, he quickly attacked it, but it transformed into black smoke and immediately left the temple. It disappeared quickly and Peng Tu's group came there. Feng and Fuyao also came a few moments later. Lien thought that the ghost groom might be one of Peng Tu's men, so he asked Feng to look at them one by one. When Feng looked at them, he saw nothing suspicious. Suddenly, they noticed the movement on the plants, and when Peng Tu approached it, it turned out to be Ying. She followed Peng Tu because she was worried about Lian. One of Peng Tu's men came out of the temple to inform their leader that the brides were inside. After hearing this, they quickly entered the temple, then they prepared the bodies in order to get the rewards. Even though they found out that the brides were dead, they still decided to bring them home because they were sure to receive the rewards. Lian tried to stop them, but they did not listen to him. Until they saw the face of one of the dead brides, and they were enchanted by her beauty. Ying approached to stop them, but Peng Tu just pushed her off. Someone suddenly threw a stone at Peng Tu, and he immediately saw who did it. They thought that it was the ghost groom, so they chased after him. Lian tried to stop them, but they did not stop. After a while, the group came back who were all bleeding and terrified. Lian threw the torch where Peng Tu's group came from, and they saw the hanged bodies of people. Fuyao did not expect that the ghost groom was working with the green immer. It was also a ghost with a cultivation level close to devastation, and its favorite trick was hanging skeletons upside down. Then Lian mentioned to them about the man who took him earlier when he was still in the sedan chair. They had a hunch that this might be the green immer, so Fuyao decided to return to the heaven realm to give information about it. One of Peng Tu's men came with a young man whose face was wrapped in a bandage. They thought that the young man was the ghost groom, but Ying insisted that he had nothing to do with it. Peng Tu did not believe her and threatened her, so Lian attacked him. To get more information, Lian tried to ask the young man about the hanging skeletons, but he seemed scared to even talk about it. For them not to be too suspicious of this young man, Ying told the story of how she met him. She used to help him, but because her fellow villagers were beating him, she sent the young man back to the forest. Many thought that he was the ghost groom, but there was no truth to it. After Lian heard Ying's story, he borrowed mana from Feng, and they returned to the Mingguang temple. But when they entered the temple, some of Peng Tu's men already took the brides. Lian had a hunch that the brides who were there earlier were not only 17 but 18, and one of them was the ghost groom that they were looking for. It probably pretended to be a bride as he did earlier. If they pieced together the information and from what they noticed in the temple, he could say that the culprit seemed to be jealous or angry with his abducted brides. Suddenly, they heard a scream, so they hurried out. The brides who seemed being controlled started to attack, and when they saw this, Lian used his weapon to save Ying. Then Peng Tu's men came there, so when the brides saw them, they came after them. Lian had Feng follow them, and he faced the brides that were left behind. To protect Ying and the young man, he used his weapon again to create a barrier, and let them enter it. While he was fighting the brides, he was also talking to Wen. He asked her if General Mingguang had an affair with a woman. When one looked at the life of General Mingguang while he was still a normal person, he had a relationship with the general of the enemy, named Jing. Wen told the story of how the two generals met, but after a while, Lian was attacked by the black smoke. When Jing appeared, she repeatedly asked Lian why General Mingguang did not come to the temple. Lian also found out that she betrayed her own country because of her love for General Mingguang. When Peng Tu woke up, he tried to pull Ying's friend out of the barrier. As soon as Jing noticed him, she immediately attacked Peng Tu. She continued to destroy the temple, and Lian tried to calm her down, but she attacked him. Ying immediately moved and tried to save Lian, but Jing also attacked her. Lian used his weapon to bind Jing, and then he approached Ying. He was able to talk to Ying for a while until she took her last breath. Jing managed to free herself from being bound and rushed to Lian. Lian was about to stop her when suddenly a bell rang in the sky, causing Jing to stop, so Lian caught her again. A reinforcement had arrived, and it was under the leadership of General Pei Jr. Jing thought that he was General Mingguang, but it turned out to be a descendant of her beloved general. They brought Jing to General Pei Jr. to be imprisoned as a punishment for the sins she committed. At that moment, Lian felt sad for the innocent people who were hurt like Ying and the brides. When the sun rose, Fuyao returned with his companions to help remove the skeletons from the tree. Then they accompanied the young man to bury Ying. When Lian noticed the wound on his head, he asked the young man to remove the bandage. It was here that they saw he had a scar from the multi-faced epidemic. He could not believe that this disease still remained until that time when it should have disappeared after the fall of the Xianlu kingdom. When he was about to touch it, the young man ran away from him. Fuyao also could not believe it, but Lian was sure that what he saw was a multi-faced epidemic. They decided to go back to the heaven realm, so they could also inform one about their discovery. When he talked to one about this, she assured that they would track down this young man. Then they talked to the martial gods to talk about the collaboration between Jing and the green immer, named Chong. Besides this, Lien also had questions to the martial gods. The first question he asked was about the child spirit that was singing, which he was the only one who could hear. But no one among the martial gods knew anything about it, so one said that they would investigate it too. Then Lien asked about the man who controlled the silver butterflies. The martial gods immediately thought that Lien was referring to Hua Cheng. According to them, Hua Cheng was one of the 4 ghost kings or 4 devils. Chong was also one of them, but he was the weakest of the 4. It also included the black immer, but since he was only seen once, the heaven realm did not have much data on him. The other was the white calamity, which was Hua Cheng, so Lien suddenly trembled with anger. This was because Hua Cheng was the reason for the fall of the Qianlu kingdom. And the 4th was the one that always gave headaches in the heaven realm, named Hua Cheng, or also known as the crimson rain-sought flower. According to General Shin and General Nanyang, he challenged the 35 heavenly officials in a duel. In the end, Hua Cheng still defeated the 33 heavenly officials who accepted the challenge. Then he also burned the temples of those who were defeated in the mortal realm, and this also caused the fall of the heavenly officials. Suddenly, someone asked Lien what Hua Cheng had done to him. When Lien said that it was as if he had guided him to the right path, the martial gods were surprised. Since 2 of the 4 devils appeared, they decided to pay more attention to them because they might be planning something. After that, the martial gods left one by one, and before General Jin and General Nanyang left, Lien thanked them first. A few days later, Lien went to one to ask her about the 8.8 million merit credits that he owed. One congratulated him and said that she had a good news. Since all the offerings went to him during his mission at Mount Yujun, he now had no debt. So he also said that he intended to return to the mortal realm again to build a temple for himself. As he was about to leave, one warned him to be careful with Hua Cheng because it was possible that they would meet again. When he returned to the mortal realm, he chose an abandoned house to serve as his temple. To fix the house, he went to the nearby village to try to ask for things that he could still use. He also got a lot of items, and when he was on his way back to the temple, he asked an old man for a ride. While they were on the trip, he read the scrolls that he had requested. Until he noticed a scroll which was about him. When he read it, he suddenly heard someone speak. He saw a man who introduced himself by the name of Sanlang. He mentioned so much about the gods, and this impressed Lien. After listening to him, Lien thought of asking him about the ghosts. He mentioned about Hua Cheng, and as expected, Sanlang also knew about this ghost. Sanlang mentioned everything he knew about Hua Cheng, including the reason why he was wearing an eye patch. After a few hours while they were in the middle of the forest, the buffalo suddenly stopped. It turned out that there were ghosts heading towards them. Because of this, Lien immediately used his weapon to create a barrier and to prevent them from being seen. Then he put the old man to sleep to make sure that no one would make noise with them. When the ghosts passed by, they immediately continued the trip. But before they got far, the ghosts noticed them, so Lien quickly made the buffalo run fast. But even though they were very fast, the ghosts were still able to catch up. When they attacked, Sanlang just stared at them and the ghost immediately ran away. Lien was surprised by this, so Sanlang just told him that the ghosts were probably afraid of him. They continued until they reached the temple of Lien. When Lien found out that Sanlang had nowhere to stay, he offered him to live at his temple for the meantime. Sanlang accepted his offer, and then Lien also woke up the old man. The next morning, Lien was surprised to see the painting on the altar. It turned out that this was Sanlang's work, so he thanked him for it. A few hours later, Sanlang saw him putting talismans on the curtain to ward off ghosts and evil spirits because it still had no door. Because of this, Sanlang thought of making a door as well. Then he also helped Lien to repair other damages in the temple. The old man also came there with food and some companions. It turned out that he told the others of what happened the night, so they were encouraged to pray at Lien's temple. After a while, some people came to ask for help from Lien. They accompanied an old man who suddenly appeared, and they were worried because his life was in danger. They brought him into the temple, and after a few hours, the old man woke up. He was in shock and said that he would not return there again. That was when they found out that the old man was from the Crescent Pass. According to him, while they were serving as guards in the caravan, someone attacked them, and out of the 60 people in the caravan, he was the only one who survived. But because what he was saying was a bit suspicious, Lien tested whether he was telling the truth. When the old man was about to drink water, Lien held him because he knew that he could not drink water. He tried to fight Lien until he was forced to show his true form. Just as the enemy was about to escape, he was immediately attacked by Sanling. It turned out that he was just a puppet, and besides being able to hide its ghost aura, it was also immune from the talisman at the door, so Sanling concluded that the one controlling it was powerful. Lien talked to Wen to ask her about the Crescent Pass, but he also caught other heavenly officials who were busy. Wen told him that the Wind Master had returned and had given merit credits. Lien took advantage of this opportunity to also ask the heavenly officials who were there about the Crescent Pass. But they stopped for a moment, and none of them answered his question. Wen asked him why he asked about the Crescent Pass, and when he told the story of what happened in the mortal realm, Wen suggested to him that it would be better if he just avoided it. When he returned to the mortal realm, he told Sanling that he intended to leave to go to the Crescent Pass. After hearing this, Sanling also mentioned what he knew about the Crescent Kingdom. But he stopped talking when someone knocked on the door. It turned out to be Feng and Fuyao, who both volunteered to accompany Lien to the Crescent Pass. When they noticed Sanling, they immediately entered because they suspected that he might be an enemy. Sanling found out that they were acting as Lien's assistant, so he asked Fuyao to sweep the floor. This annoyed Fuyao and was about to attack Sanling, so Lien immediately stopped him. Lien was able to calm them down, so Feng also started making the teleportation formation. When Feng did it, they immediately entered there. They did not waste any time and started walking towards the Crescent Kingdom. After some time, they arrived at the Crescent Pass. After a while they saw a house, so Sanling went to check it out. Fuyao spoke to Lien again to ask him about Sanling. They were worried that Sanling might be dangerous, but Lien said that he had tested Sanling, and he did not see anything suspicious about him. When Sanling confirmed that they could rest there, Feng and Fuyao decided to try their method on Sanling too. When they entered the house, they immediately started their plan on Sanling. They want to be sure if Sanling was not a ghost. But no matter what they do, Sanling would always pass each test they prepared. After a while, Lien noticed that someone was running in the middle of the sandstorm. They looked at them closely and confirmed that they were women. As they watched them, Lien was surprised that one of the women seemed to smile at him. Lien decided to follow them, but when they got out, they noticed that what they were experiencing was not an ordinary sandstorm, so he thought that someone might have been controlling it. While they were still thinking about whether they should continue or take shelter first, Lien was suddenly swept away by a tornado. He used his weapon and was able to grab Sanling. After he tied it to himself, he took Feng and Fuyao so that they would not be separated. They fell near the cave, and they quickly entered it. Sanling noticed that Lien seemed to be in deep of his thoughts, so Lien told them his hunch that the woman who stared at him might be an imperial preceptor. Then they also thought that the woman might actually plan to prevent them from going to the Crescent Kingdom. Feng and Fuyao decided to explore the whole cave, and after a while, they saw some people in there. According to one of them, they were just vendors who were just passing through, and were forced to take shelter because of the sandstorm. Sanling was wondering why they still passed through that area even though there were rumors that many people had died there. The salesman said that as long as they could rely on someone to guide them, they would be able to pass through safely. So Lien's group decided to rest there as well, while they waited for the sandstorm to stop. After a while, Sanling noticed that there were letters engraved on the stone tablet that Lien was sitting on. It turned out to be Crescentian characters, and since Lien could read it, he knew that it was the tombstone of a general. He read everything written on it, so the vendors approached it too. Sanling told the vendors that if they kneel 3 times in front of the tombstone, they would be blessed. As they were doing this, one of them suddenly saw a snake. When it attacked, it went straight to Sanling, and when Sanling touched it, its tail attacked too. It turned out to be a scorpion-tailed snake known to live in the Crescent Kingdom. This was when they realized that they were surrounded by the snakes like this. Feng and Fuyao attacked them, and the others quickly left the cave. But when they got out, one of the vendors suddenly collapsed, and they found out that he was bitten. According to their guide, named Levi, it was said that a person could only last 4 hours when bitten by a scorpion-tailed snake. So Feng gave the victim a medicine to extend his life for 24 hours. Sanlang said that there was an antidote to the bite of the scorpion-tailed snake, which was an herb called crescent fern. But this herb could only be found in the Crescent Kingdom. Lien thought that the venom of the scorpion-tailed snake might be the target of the Crescent Imperial Preceptor, so he tried to talk to one. But he could not enter the telepathic matrix, and when Feng and Fuyao tried it, they could not enter either. Suddenly, a scorpion-tailed snake attacked Sanlang, and fortunately, Lien caught it quickly. But the snake's tail got him, so Sanlang immediately looked at his hand. Sanlang made it bleed to suck the venom and prevent it from spreading further. Then he used his power to kill the scorpion-tailed snake. Lien told the vendors that they were going to get a crescent fern from the Crescent Kingdom, but they needed Levi to guide them. In return, Fuyao would be left to guard them too. They immediately went on their journey, and by nightfall, they arrived at the Crescent Kingdom. It was not long when Lien felt that someone was coming, so they quickly hid. It turned out to be the two women that they suspected as Crescent Imperial Preceptors. But one of them suddenly felt that there were other people around. She attacked where they were hidden, so Feng was forced to show up. After Feng exchanged attacks with these women, he immediately left for them to follow him. He did this to give his companions a chance to continue the search for the Crescent Fern. After they saved Levi, Lien asked him if he knew where the Crescent Fern was located. But Levi admitted that he did not know this either, so Sanlang mentioned that it could possibly be found in the royal palace. They immediately went to the royal palace, and when they were looking for this plant, Lien saw the boy who was with the vendors. He was with the other vendors because it turned out that they followed them. After a while, Sanlang found a crescent fern and they tried it on Lien. Due to the immediate healing of Lien's wound, the vendors immediately took action to search for the plant as well. While they were searching, they suddenly heard a scream. They were all wondering because no one shouted among them. They looked for the source, which was from the grass, and when Lien looked at it, he saw a buried head. According to this person, he should not be feared because he was also a human being. But in the desire of a vendor to get a crescent fern, he tried to pick the plant, but was suddenly attacked by the buried person. Lien was about to rush at the buried head when someone suddenly attacked him. They saw a ghost at the top, and it was the general of the Crescent Kingdom, called Millstone, and the other soldiers of the Crescent Kingdom also came out. Millstone had them arrested, and when they were about to leave, the buried person repeatedly begged Millstone to release him because he helped to capture the intruders. But Millstone just attacked him that his bones disintegrated, so the buried man learned the truth about his condition. Lien's group were taken to the sinner's pit where the punishment of the sinners was carried out. Millstone ordered to drop the two captives into the sinner's pit, so Levi suddenly attacked him, but Millstone dropped him first. For the next person to be dropped, the boy was chosen by Millstone, so Lien tried to negotiate with him. Millstone was surprised because Lien could speak the language of the Crescent Kingdom. He immediately asked Lien where he was from, so Lien said that he was from the Central Plain, which Millstone thought that he was a descendant of the Yongin Kingdom, which was the enemy of the Crescent Kingdom. For this reason, his negotiation was not successful, so he thought that he would jump too. But he saw Sanlang, who was already in position to jump. He tried to stop him, but Lien could not reach him. So he jumped as well, but Millstone immediately grabbed him. Because of this, he used his weapon to take Millstone down. When the captive woman who was tied to the pole saw this, she broke free from her bonds and immediately attacked Millstone's men. Millstone saw this and caused him to lose focus. That was when Lien took advantage of the opportunity to pull Millstone. Lien let him go, and Sanlang quickly took action to catch Lien. When they came down, Millstone immediately found all of his men lifeless. So in his anger, he attacked Sanlang, who was still holding Lien. Millstone repeatedly attacked until Sanlang used his weapon to retaliate against the enemy. Millstone thought that Lien's group were working with the Imperial Preceptor. But they were also surprised because they thought that Millstone was on the side of the Imperial Preceptor. That was when Millstone said that he would never work with the Imperial Preceptor again. Lien asked what was Millstone's reason, and in order for him not to think that they were on the side of the Imperial Preceptor, Lien also said that they were there to catch the woman. After hearing this, Millstone was forced to tell the story about him and the Imperial Preceptor. He said that the woman was a hybrid because its father was from the Yongin Kingdom. She also inherited the evil magical craft of the Yongin, so even though she had a position in the royal palace, many officials wanted to hang her for fear that she could become a threat to the kingdom. But the king left the decision to him, and he decided to bring her in their operations. Because of what he did, and when she saved the lives of his colleagues were in danger, he concluded that she was not a threat to the kingdom. He supported her even though many people still hated her, until the time that she was made as an imperial preceptor. But one night while they were being attacked by the enemies, they could not see the imperial preceptor. That was when he realized that she had betrayed them, so he said that it was only right that the woman should be punished. After a few moments, Sanlang felt that someone was coming and it turned out to be the imperial preceptor, or better known as Ban Yui. She looked around and asked Millstone what happened there. Millstone was very angry and told her that she was the one who pushed his men to death. Then she asked Lien if they were the ones who got rid of the ghost soldiers, but according to Lien it was all an accident. He also said that they wanted to get out, but they could not do it because of the magical formation. Ban Yui understood this, so she removed the magical formation. That was when Lien suddenly wondered who could be the two women they saw earlier. Fuyao suddenly came, and when he went down, he immediately asked about Millstone and Ban Yui. That was when Millstone took the opportunity to attack the woman. He wanted to avenge his colleagues, so he attacked her non-stop. But according to Ban Yui, she could no longer control the scorpion-tailed snakes. When Millstone was about to kill her, Lien immediately took action to stop him. When Ban Yui held Lien's hand, Lien turned to her, and that was when he recognized her. She called Lien as General Hua, and Fuyao suddenly put Millstone to sleep. It turned out that Lien and Ban Yui knew each other, but Fuyao wondered why she called Lien as General and Lieutenant. He remembered the tombstone in the cave, so Lien admitted that he was the general referred in the tombstone. Lien started to tell the story of what happened to him 200 years ago. He was on his way to south when his compass broke, so he ended up in the desert. That was when he joined an army, and he was included in various missions to denounce the bandits until he was made a lieutenant. One day while he was cooking, his colleague kicked the container, and this was when he met Ban Yui. She continued to follow him until he decided to feed her. She had a friend who was a man from that kingdom who was also with them sometimes. But when the chaos broke out, they got separated. Fuyao suddenly mentioned that Ban Yui was also to blame about the scorpion-tailed snakes that attacked other people. But she denied this, saying that she no longer controlled the snakes and they just suddenly came out. No matter how she explained to them, Fuyao still caught her, and so did Millstone. When they were about to leave, the snakes suddenly came there. Ban Yui tried to control the snakes, but they only increased in number and the others came from above. Because of this, Fuyao quickly used his power to keep them away, and created a barrier so that the snakes could not get close to them. Sanlang suddenly felt that there were more snakes coming, so he used his umbrella. Then he also felt that there were others with them, so he also fought against them. Lien tried to call Ban Yui, but she did not answer. Fuyao mentioned that they were traitors just like Jing, and that was when Lien realized who was fighting against Sanlang. This was General Pei Jr. because he remembered what Feng said before, and it had something to do with the massacre that happened 200 years ago. When Fuyao's mana returned, they saw Levi, whom Lien referred to as General Pei Jr. Millstone woke up just in time, and since he had not yet forgotten what General Pei Jr. had done, he rushed to attack, but Fuyao stopped him. Then Lien asked General Pei Jr. how he and Ban Yui met. So General Pei Jr. reminded him that they had known each other before because he was Ban Yui's friend and was also from the Yongin Kingdom. After this revelation, they immediately thought that it was General Pei Jr. who encouraged Ban Yui to open the gate that caused the defeat of Millstone and brought downfall to the Crescent Kingdom. But Ban Yui defended General Pei Jr. and said that she was the one who made the decision to betray the Crescent Kingdom. She recalled the events 200 years ago. After what happened to Lien, Ban Yui was very sad. When General Pei Jr. noticed her sadness, he decided to join the army of the Yongin Kingdom. A few years later, he and Ban Yui talked again, and that was when they made a plan. General Pei Jr. told her that the end of the war was definitely what Lien wanted to happen too. Because of this, she agreed to General Pei Jr.'s plan to end the war. While Ban Yui was repeatedly apologizing, she suddenly weakened and collapsed. Millstone and General Pei Jr. continued to argue, and mentioned the wrongdoings done by each army. After a while, they suddenly heard a woman's voice. Then a tornado also appeared that took them to the top. They saw Feng, who was weak and its face was looking so tired. Those who were chasing him earlier were also heavenly officials, and one of them was the Wind Master, named Shin. After reprimanding General Pei Jr. for the sins he committed, she also apologized to Lien for what happened earlier in the Crescent Pass. She said that they would take Millstone and General Pei Jr. back to the Heaven Realm, and they would meet there again. After they left, they noticed that Fuyao also disappeared. Sanlang said that he might be ashamed of his wrong predictions earlier. Lien approached Ban Yui, and he decided to put her in the jar first. When the sun was about to rise, they also returned to the vendors and brought the crescent fern. The old vendor recovered, so they also decided to continue their journey. Fo also left, while Lien and Sanlang decided to go home too. One day, Lien woke up to find that Sanlang was no longer with him. He tried to look for him outside, but Sanlang was not there either. Until he noticed that he was wearing a necklace. A few days later, one suddenly spoke to him. She informed him that he had to return to the heavenly capital because of an important matter related to Banyue. And he was told to go straight to the Hall of Shinwu as soon as he arrived. Similarly, the heavenly officials were currently heading to the Hall of Shinwu due to the return of the heavenly emperor. When Lien arrived at the heavenly capital, the other heavenly officials were trying to avoid him. He tried to say hello to them, but they just ran away from him. Suddenly, someone shouted for His Majesty, but it was not him who was being called, but the martial god of East and crown prince of the Yongnan Kingdom, named Chinchio. When he noticed Lien, the two of them greeted each other. Meanwhile, the others started comparing them because they were both crown princes of their respective kingdoms. One also arrived there, so they entered the Hall of Shenwu together. They discussed the punishment of General Pei Jr., and she said that it was possible that he would be exiled. After they entered the Hall of Shenwu, the Heavenly Emperor immediately spoke to Lien. General Pei also came there while carrying the clone of General Pei Jr. and the real General Pei Jr. himself. He wanted to know who was with Lien when they fought against General Pei Jr. Lien even tried to deny that it was his colleague, but his excuse did not work because it was General Pei Jr. who said it himself. Suddenly, a heavenly official joined their conversation to question the credibility of what General Pei Jr. had said. For this reason, General Pei asked General Nanyang and General Jin to find out what kind of weapon caused the injury to General Pei Jr. When they checked the body, they found out that it was from the deadly scimitar that belonged to Hua Cheng. General Pei tried to save General Pei Jr. and let everyone know the possibility that Lien might have been tricked. But Lien said that he was not the only one who heard it when General Pei Jr. confessed his actions because the Wind Master was also there. Until General Pei Jr. had spoken to admit once again the things that he had done. After hearing this, the Heavenly Emperor decided to exile him the next day. But General Pei begged the Emperor to also investigate about the deadly scimitar. After that, Lien was about to go out with the others, but the Heavenly Emperor stopped him. When everyone got out, he noticed Chinchio who was still standing on its place. It turned out that he fell asleep, so Lien woke him up so that he could get out. When Lien was with the Heavenly Emperor, they talked about the dragon made of fire which was seen 7 days ago. They both knew that it was a sign that someone was asking for help. The Heavenly Emperor said that the convening of the meeting that day was not only about Banyue, but also to find out the whereabouts of other heavenly officials. Aside from the Rain Master and Earth Master, other heavenly officials who were not present in the meeting had responded. Lien thought that there might be a lot of ghosts and monsters scattered around, which was the reason why this heavenly official asked for help. Based on that situation, the Heavenly Emperor also mentioned about the City of Ghost. As far as Lien's knowledge, it was located between Yin and Yang, and was also the most developed area in the Ghost Realm. The Heavenly Emperor planned to find a heavenly official who would go there to investigate. Lien volunteered for this mission even though he also knew that Hua Cheng was currently in charge of it. The Heavenly Emperor said that it was possible for him to do the mission with Chinchio because he ruled the East, and it was also good for him to bring the Wind Master. After their talk, Lien rested in the new Xianlu Palace which was built for him. Just a few minutes after he arrived, the heavenly official who defended him earlier against General Pei came and approached him. This person invited Lien to come down, but Lien said that he was still waiting for the Wind Master. So he introduced himself as the Wind Master, which surprised Lien because the Wind Master turned out to be a man and was disguised as a woman. While they were walking towards the City of Ghost, the Wind Master changed his form again as a woman. Since Lien wondered why he suddenly changed to a woman, the Wind Master said that his magical power was stronger in this form. At night, they saw the ghost women heading to the city of Ghost, so they went with them. When they reached the city of Ghost, Lien did not realize that he had been separated from the Wind Master while he was stunned by what he was seeing. After a few minutes of walking, he reached a gambling den. When he was about to enter the building, a woman approached him to ask if he would also play. He said that he was just going to look around because he did not have any money, but according to the woman, most of the people who played there did not need to use money. She took him inside where Hua Cheng was located. Because of this, Lien felt that the necklace that he was wearing suddenly reacted. He saw a player who wanted to gamble his hand, but Hua Cheng suddenly spoke up to reject it. Lien looked up because he knew that the voice that spoke belonged to Sanling. The player wondered why the others were allowed to bet other parts of their bodies. Hua Cheng's assistant replied that his hand was of no use because he was neither a craftsman nor a renowned doctor. When the player heard this, he changed his mind and just bet the 10-year life of his son. Hua Cheng agreed to this, and fortunately, the player was lucky to win. So the player bet again, and this time, he increased his bet by 20 years of his son's life including its future marriage. The Wind Master came to Lien who had returned to the form of a man because he escaped the ghosts who were playing with him earlier. He also informed Lien that he and Qianqiu would meet there. Meanwhile, the player was about to take a look at the result of the dice, when someone suddenly attacked the table. It turned out to be Qianqiu, so Lien and the Wind Master were worried that they might get into trouble because he might be recognized as a heavenly official. When Hua Cheng spoke, the Wind Master found out that he was also there, causing him to be bothered even more. But Hua Cheng already knew that Qianqiu was a heavenly official, and that was the moment when Qianqiu started to attack using the big table. Hua Cheng sent it back to him easily, and when Qianqiu returned it, Hua Cheng used it crushed the table. Qianqiu was about to release his true power, but Hua Cheng stopped it and was able to control him. Hua Cheng thought of making Qianqiu a prize to whoever was lucky enough to win against him. Because of this, Lien and the Wind Master decided to make a bet to win Qianqiu back. They bet on the dice with the lowest number, but the opposite number appeared. Hua Cheng made his assistant announce to others that he could play a few rounds. So Lien immediately volunteered if he could try once more. Hua Cheng's assistant asked him to come closer to shake the dice. But Hua Cheng did not like how he shook it, so he sent Lien to go up to him, so he could teach him to shake it properly. Because of this, Lien was able to win, so Hua Cheng ordered to put Qianqiu down. When Lien helped Qianqiu, it was here that Hua Cheng appeared to all of them. So Lien suddenly remembered Sanlang's promise to him that he would show him his true form if they met again. So Lien convinced his companions to quickly leave the building, and when they were outside, they heard someone screaming. Other than the screaming, Lien heard a voice that was familiar to him, and he suddenly remembered the young man they met on Mount Yujun with human face disease. He immediately went to it, and he saw this young man cowering on the ground. This was the reason why one could not find him in the mortal realm because he was in the ghost realm. When Lien was pulled by some ghosts, Qianqiu quickly moved to attack the ghosts. While he was fighting the ghosts, Lien took the opportunity to help the young man, but he was afraid of him and suddenly ran away. To chase after him, Lien was forced to attack those who blocked him. But while he was chasing the young man, he bumped into someone who got angry at him, and this trouble grabbed the attention of those around them. He was immediately being surrounded by ghosts, but suddenly, a waning moon officer came there to tell Lien that the lord of the city wanted to invite him. As they were heading to the Paradise Manor where Hua Cheng was staying, he noticed the cursed shackle in the hand of the waning moon officer. When they arrived at the Paradise Manor, he caught Hua Cheng playing the hall made of gold foil that he usually played before in the Xianlu Palace. But Hua Cheng suddenly destroyed what he had built, and then he spoke to Lien. Lien tried to return the necklace that he had left behind, but Hua Cheng decided to leave it to him. He also took advantage of this opportunity to ask for help to Hua Cheng in finding the young man that he was chasing earlier. Hua Cheng immediately granted his request, and sent the waning moon officer to find this man. While they were waiting, they also discussed what happened earlier at the gambling house. Hua Cheng said that it was not common that heavenly officials were seen in the area. He did not care about it, as long as they would not cause trouble in the ghost realm. A few minutes later, the waning moon officer found the young man that Lien was looking for. He was still afraid of Lien, but Lien noticed that he was hungry, so he immediately fed him. After he ate, Lien told him that he would cure his human face disease. Lien asked if he was also from the Xianlu Kingdom, but he replied that he was from the Yong'an Kingdom. Lien suddenly remembered the complicated things that happened in the Xianlu kingdom, so he also asked the young man if he had seen the white cloak calamity. Hua Cheng thought that Lien might be tired, so he sent the young man away first. After a while, he felt that there was a disturbance outside, so he excused himself to deal with the problem. Lien thought that it was Chinchio, so he said that he wanted to go too, but Hua Cheng told him that it was not Chinchio. A few minutes later after Hua Cheng left, Lien suddenly remembered their mission. He was about to leave when he saw the waning moon officer. Since he was still curious about the cursed shackle that he saw on its arm, he decided to follow him. When the waning moon officer was in front of a room, he used a dice and then entered it. Lien approached it and opened the room where the waning moon officer entered, but he was no longer there, so he thought that the door had a spell lock. He had a suspicion that the two dice had something to do with the destination towards the other side of the door. When he was on his way back, he met Hua Cheng. In order for Hua Cheng not be suspicious of him, he just made an excuse that he intended to visit the man with human face disease. Hua Cheng decided to take him because he wanted to show something to Lien. While they were walking towards it, Lien also asked about what Hua Cheng did outside. Hua Cheng said that he faced the disciples of Green Immer or Chirong because they wanted to cause trouble. When they arrived at the area that Hua Cheng wanted to show him, Lien saw different types of weapons. Based on what he saw, Lien suddenly mentioned about Hua Cheng's famous weapon, which was the deadly scimitar. So Lien found out that it was the weapon with an eye that Hua Cheng was always carrying. When they returned to Paradise Manor, Lien once again spoke to the young man with human face disease. Since the young man could not remember his name, so Lien decided to name him as Ying. Hua Cheng's servants came there to deliver food. But Lien seemed to know one of them and immediately realized that it was the Wind Master. So just a few seconds after he entered the room that was prepared for him, the Wind Master immediately went to this room. He found out that Lien was invited to Paradise Manor, so he got worried about his safety. Lien told him about what he discovered earlier, but he would need luck to execute something. They went to the room that the waning moon officer entered, and used the two dice that Lien borrowed from Hua Cheng. So when they opened the door, they saw a different room. Lien asked the Wind Master if he knew any heavenly officials who had been demoted. He informed him about the cursed shackle that he saw on the waning moon officer, and he suspected that he was possibly a former heavenly official who had just demoted. After a few minutes of walking, they reached the end. They used the dice again, and the Wind Master noticed a sudden change in the pattern of the floor that they were stepping on. It suddenly opened, and they fell into the area surrounded by dirt. They thought that they might got the wrong number, so they went to the wrong place. And since the door where they came from had also disappeared, they decided to look for another door. But while they were searching, they suddenly felt a tremor, so they quickly ran. It turned out to be caused by the monsters, and they were caught up by them. While they were moving away from the monsters, they used fire so these creatures would not attack them. Until they stepped on a stone door, so they immediately used the dice. This time, they fell in a place surrounded by plants. When they got out of it, it turned out to be a big tree. Suddenly, a group of natives appeared in front of them and chased them. Since it was forbidden for them to use magic power on people, they just ran away from them. But an arrow bullet hit the Wind Master's face, and this made him very angry. Because of this, he could no longer hold back and attack the natives using his power. Fortunately, they were right above the stone door that they were looking for. When they entered it, they smelled blood and saw someone ahead. The Wind Master immediately approached it, and he was right in his hunch. They saw the Earth Master, who was also his best friend. It was only here that Lien remembered that this was the woman who used to be with the Wind Master when they met before in the mortal realm. Since they found the one that they were looking for, they immediately left to find a way out. Suddenly, they fell in another place, but it was right in Hua Cheng's room, and Ying was there too. When the Wind Master and Earth Master fell, he quickly pushed Hua Cheng. He was about to explain, but the Wind Master told Lien that Hua Cheng might have something to do with what happened to the Earth Master. When Hua Cheng found out that the Earth Master referred to by the Wind Master was the one on its back, he said that this person was his ghost messenger for 10 years. Although he already had a suspicion that his messenger was a heavenly official, he still had no solid evidence. Until they met in the mortal realm, and that was the time when he confirmed this suspicion. Lien immediately understood the situation and tried to plead with Hua Cheng. But Hua Cheng just advised him not to get too involved in other things. But the Wind Master began to attack, and when it was over, Hua Cheng retaliated with his fan. Just a few moments later, Chinchou also came there and immediately attacked Hua Cheng. When he attacked again, a light suddenly appeared, and then Lian quickly created a fire so that they would have a chance to escape. When they got out, the Wind Master touched Lian's shoulder, which was full of blood. That was when he realized that what Lian did was the reason why Hua Cheng and Chinchou were stopped. When they reached the Heaven Realm, they immediately went straight to the Hall of Shenwu to ask for help from other heavenly officials to heal the Earth Master and Lian. General Nanyang arrived first, and he was followed by General Jin. While General Nanyang was examining Lian, General Jin took care of the Earth Master. Lian noticed that Chinchou had been quiet for a while. When he was about to touch him, Chinchou immediately stopped him and then called him as Imperial Preceptor. He was referring to the Imperial Preceptor Shin of the Yomin Kingdom. Others were confused as to how Lian became the Imperial Preceptor of that kingdom. When came there and explained to them that the Imperial Preceptor Shin was the reason on the complications that befell to the Golden Feast of the Yong and Imperial family. But he was also the one who saved and became Chinchou's mentor before this incident. The Wind Master asked why Chinchou just recognized Lian as the Imperial Preceptor at that time. So General Pei replied that it was because the Imperial Preceptor Shin always wore a mask. Others were thinking that the Imperial Preceptor might be taking his revenge for the destruction of the Xianlu Kingdom. The Heavenly Emperor came there, and after he took the Earth Master, he healed Lian's wound. When he sat down, Chinchou began to explain their situation. He asked the Heavenly Emperor for permission to allow him and Lian to have a duel. The Heavenly Emperor asked for his reason, and why he said that Lian was indeed the Imperial Preceptor Shin. Chinchou said that the Imperial Preceptor used the same style when he saved him before, and this was also the style used when Lian blocked the sword of Hua Cheng. And he could prove it if they both fight. The Wind Master tried to stop it because one of Lian's hands was injured. Because of this, Chinchou also injured one of his hands to make it fair to Lian. But Lian said that he had promised himself for a long time that he would never kill using the sword again. Chinchou suddenly remembered the past, which angered him even more, so the Wind Master immediately stopped him. The Heavenly Emperor asked Lian if Chinchou's accusation against him was true. Lian did not deny it, so everyone was surprised by his confession. Then he begged the Heavenly Emperor to remove his divine status and send him to the mortal realm. Chinchou did not agree to this because he just wanted them to fight. But Lian said that even if they fight, he was still sure that he would defeat him. The Heavenly Emperor decided to put Lian in the Xianlu Palace and decided that he would be the one to ask questions to him. And while the investigation was not yet completed, Lian and Chinchou were forbidden to see each other. Chinchou assured that whatever the outcome of the investigation, he and Lian would still fight. Before Lian headed to Xianlu Palace, he begged the Wind Master to take care of Ying. When he arrived at the Xianlu Palace, he remembered that he still had the dice he borrowed from Hua Cheng. He tried to use it, and got the lowest number. General Jin suddenly came to Lian, and gave him some medicine. A few moments later, General Nanyang also came there to confirm whether Lian was telling the truth. So Lian clarified again that everything he said earlier in the Hall of Shenwu was true. General Jin noticed the reaction on General Nanyang's face, so he pissed him off. General Nanya could not control himself anymore, which was why he punched General Jin. Because of this, the two of them got into a fight, so Lian decided to leave the room. But that moment, he saw the door open in front of him that let out butterflies, and these creatures attacked General Jin and General Nanyang. The two were surprised because the butterflies did not attack Lian. Then Hua Cheng suddenly pulled Lian, so the two generals quickly moved towards the door. But they did not get into it because Hua Cheng quickly closed the door. They immediately used the telepathic matrix to inform one about what happened. In order for the heavenly official not to worry, Lian also joined the conversation. Then Hua Cheng also took this opportunity to talk to all of them. He challenged those who wanted to follow because he was ready to fight them. When Lian and Hua Cheng left the telepathic matrix, the heavenly officials were still having problems on how to open the door, so the Wind Master helped them. They immediately created dice and they were able to open it. But they got a different number that made them teleported to another place. They went to different unexpected places, and this caused them to get annoyed and fight each other. But the other heavenly officials who could hear their arguments were just laughing at them. Suddenly, a sword fell to where Lian was located, and it was from Qianqiu. This sword was the Fengxing that was once owned by Lian. Lian pulled out the sword and decided to grant Qianqiu's demand. And Qianqiu had no idea that Lian was planning something else. So when Qianqiu attacked, he suddenly stopped because Lian used a different weapon. Something quickly wrapped around him and he could not do anything to free himself. Because of this, Lian said that Qianqiu had lost, but Qianqiu could not accept it because they should only use their swords in battle. Lian reasoned that he did not agree on this rule before they started the fight. Qianqiu could not help but ask Lian's reason why he did that to his family. He could not forget that those things happened on the day of his birthday. He was thinking that Lian might also want him to experience the same sad things that Lian went through. So Qianqiu insisted that he would never be like him. Lian suddenly laughed and told Qianqiu that he should remember what he had said. And that was the moment when Hua Cheng decided to turn Qianqiu into a doll because he intended to take him to where they were going. He used the dice to get them to the place that he was referring to, and it was in a cave. A few minutes after they entered it, they met ghosts with candles on their heads. Lian was surprised that the ghost did not attack them, so when he looked at Hua Cheng, he understood why. It turned out that they also disguised as ghosts, and Hua Cheng said that this was also what Qirong did when he got there. Lian found out that they were there to find Qirong. He would like Hua Cheng to return Qianqiu to its true form, so that he could leave and avoid getting involved in trouble. But Hua Cheng did not agree on his suggestion because he wanted to introduce someone to Qianqiu later. Lian thought that Hua Cheng might want to let Qianqiu and Qirong face each other, but he was also wondering about the connection between the two. After a while, they saw people who were tied up and being dragged by the ghosts. They pretended to be with them, so they would not be noticed as they followed the group. When they reached the end of the cave, Lian was surprised by Hua Cheng's reaction. When Lian turned his eyes to what he was looking at, he was surprised because it turned out to be his own statue. When Qirong came there, he was immediately informed by the ghosts about what happened to their other colleagues at the hands of Hua Cheng. Apart from this, their companions also encountered General Pei Jr., and they did not survive. As they continued to listen, Lian also found out about the mischief that this group had done in the temples of other heavenly officials, including the spreading of false news that caused other heavenly officials to fight each other. After a while, the ghosts started choosing people to be taken to Qirong. When the girl was about to be chosen, it was here that Hua Cheng acted. Qirong did not recognize him because he was in the form of Sanlang. Sanlang said that someone from the Xianlu kingdom was with them, but Qirong did not believe him and just kicked the statue towards him. So Sanlang mentioned the name Lord Anmay, but Qirong just laughed because he knew that Lord Anmay had been dead for a long time. Sanlang asked who was the one who killed Lord Anmay, but instead of answering this, Qirong ordered his disciples to attack him. But before they could do it, Sanlang quickly approached Qirong to knock his head on the floor. Qirong's disciples were so scared, so they ran quickly. Then Lian took the child to ensure her safety. Sanlang hit Qirong again, and this was the time when its mask had been broken. Sanlang changed to his true form as Hua Cheng, so Qirong was surprised on how he got there. He asked Qirong again how Lord Anmay died, but Lian came to calm Hua Cheng. When Qirong was taken down, Lian did not expect that Hua Cheng would take away his ability to speak. Then Hua Cheng approached Qirong, who was planning to escape. He was about to smash Qirong's head again, so out of fear, Qirong was forced to mention the name of Qianqiu, who was the one who killed Lord Anmay. Because of this, Qianqiu insisted on coming out from Lian's clothes, and this was when he was returned to his human form. He denied what Qirong had said because he would not be able to kill Lord Anmay since he was his friend. It was believed that Lord Anmay died due to an illness, but Qirong knew that this was not true. That was the moment when Qirong began to speak of what he knew, which was contrary to Qianqiu's beliefs. Qianqiu found out that Qirong used Lord Anmay to get information inside Yong'an Palace about what he was planning for the Golden Feast. Qianqiu thought that the Imperial Preceptor was an accomplice of Lord Anmay, but Qirong denied it. It was here that Qianqiu realized that he suspected the wrong person. Qirong also knew what Qianqiu had done to the Imperial Preceptor, so he laughed that he had killed the wrong person. Qianqiu immediately asked Lian why he did not tell the truth. Hua Cheng returned Lian's voice, but Lian contradicted Qirong's words. He still insisted that he was the perpetrator of the Golden Feast, and it was seen by Qianqiu himself. But after a while, Qirong recognized Lian and called him his cousin. Then he laughed out loud because he did not expect that Lien was the imperial preceptor Fengqin. Their conversation returned to how Lord Anlay died. Chirong said that when he examined Lord Anl's body, he saw that his organs had been destroyed as if it had been done by a very sharp sword. But there was no sign of injury outside its body, and its mouth continued to bleed. Now he knew who did it, and it was Lien. Long ago, before the Golden Feast. While they were outside, they saw a woman being robbed of her purse. They immediately took action to chase the pickpocket. When Qianqiu reached the culprit, he used his sword and hit the man. But when he took the wallet, the pickpocket tried to take advantage of the opportunity and pretended that he was being bullied by someone from Yunnan. But when the old man saw the purse that Qianqiu was holding, he hit the pickpocket with his cane. It turned out that he recognized this wallet because it belongs to his granddaughter. The citizens got angry, so they took the pickpocket to jail. In the evening, Chirong came there, and he was going to visit Lord Anlay, who was very happy after seeing him. So by the day of the Golden Feast, their disciples were ready for their plan. Although the king's relatives did not treat Lord Anlay well, the king and the queen showed the opposite. As the celebration began, the power of Chirong was gradually affecting their companions. Until everyone was surprised when the music suddenly stopped playing. It turned out that Lord Anlay's men attacked the musician, and they also immediately attacked the guests. The king and the queen tried to get out, but they did not know that Lord Anlay would attack the king. It was quickly blocked by the queen, but the sword still went through to the king. When Lien came there, he was surprised that it was so quiet inside. When he opened the door, he was shocked by what he saw. He was about to attack Lord Anlay, but he noticed that the king was still alive. After he got him up, he decided to call an imperial physician, but the king stopped him, and he told Lien that he would not last any longer. Instead, he asked for a favor that he wanted to be buried with Lord Anlay together with other Xianlu people. They heard Qianqiu's voice, and he did not hear the king's request because Lien had killed the king. So when Qianqiu entered, he saw what Lien had done, and thought that Lien was the one to blame for everything. Because of Chirong's story, Qianqiu learned the truth that it was not the imperial preceptor Fengqin who attacked the Golden Feast. He also found out that Chirong also planned to kill him when he was only 12 years old. Chirong wanted to make it appear that the people of Xianlu still hated the people of Yongnan. But Lien opposed to this because he did not want Qianqiu to believe this. Chirong got up to annoy Qianqiu again, but in Qianqiu's anger he attacked him. Then he brought Chirong's body to the boiling water. But Hua Cheng knew that Qianqiu only killed the puppet of Chirong. He added that if Qianqiu wanted to eliminate Chirong for good, he needed to find its remains. Qianqiu promised himself that he would find it to offer it to his parents, and then he left. Although Hua Cheng had done what he wanted, Lien still did not agree on this. Lien preferred to be blamed for everything, so that the relationship between Xianlu and Yongnan would not suffer. He remembered the incident again when he chased Lord Anlay. He intended to make him realize that what he did was a big mistake, but Lord Anlay was just happy that the imperial preceptor was also from Xianlu. He invited Lien for them to work together and overthrow the Yongnan kingdom. But Lien did not let him continue, and decided to use his sword on him. Before they left there, Lien destroyed the statue that Chirong had made. Then they went to the hostages to release them. When they came out of the cave, Lien tried to ask Hua Cheng about its true identity. He said that he could feel that Hua Cheng had become a part of his life before, and he thought that they might have met during his first ascension. But he immediately retracted his question because he remembered that Hua Cheng's real name should remain a secret. After a few moments, they saw the Wind Master, who also came out of the cave. When she saw Lien with Hua Cheng, she quickly approached them. General Nanyang was also with her, who immediately prepared to fight Hua Cheng. The Wind Master suddenly thought that she had to maintain the belief of other heavenly officials that Hua Cheng had kidnapped Lien. So she thought of a way and pretended to be negotiating with Hua Cheng. When she was done sending this made-up negotiation to the spirit communication array, they stopped pretending to be enemies. After the Wind Master changed into a male form, he suddenly remembered Qianqiu. So Hua Cheng told them what happened earlier, and after hearing all of it, General Nanyang calmed down. They also found out that Chirong owned this cave. When Lien said that Chirong was his cousin, the Wind Master was even more amazed because there were many famous personalities around him. Hua Cheng suddenly took out an umbrella, so the Wind Master immediately took shelter. It turned out that it was going to rain blood, but General Nanyang got soaked in it because he did not take shelter. When the blood rain stopped, the Wind Master just wiped the blood from General Nanyang's face, and Hua Cheng also said goodbye to them. Then the three returned to the Heaven Realm, and went directly to the Hall of Shen Wu. They found other heavenly officials who were having a meeting with the Heavenly Emperor. They were still talking about how Hua Cheng entered their realm. One also informed the Heavenly Emperor about Qianqiu's message. He said that he wanted to be the only one to continue the investigation about what happened at the Golden Feast. The Heavenly Emperor assigned General Nanyang and General Jin to help General Pei in guarding the heavenly capital so that what Hua Cheng had done would not happen again. After the meeting, Lien spoke to the Heavenly Emperor. He told everything that happened, and asked the Heavenly Emperor if he was the one who sent the Earth Master. The Heavenly Emperor did not deny this. He reasoned that Hua Cheng was the one who did the first act to oppose the Heaven Realm. He added that there was a proof that Hua Cheng had an undercover agent because he managed to build a passage that would connect the Heaven Realm and the Ghost Realm. But since he did not have concrete evidence yet, he sent the Earth Master to the Ghost Realm to investigate. And because of what happened, it would be more difficult for them to identify who was the traitor in the Heaven Realm. It was also hard to tell if it was just one person, or if there were many of them, so anyone could be suspected as a traitor. He also advised Lien to be careful with Hua Cheng even though he treated him well, and he should not let Hua Cheng know everything. After their conversation, Lien descended to the mortal realm. He went to their place, and remembered what he would always do when he was young. Then he also visited the grave of his parents. After a while, he heard a noise inside his mother's coffin. When he opened it, he saw a child crying. After he took her out of the coffin, he suddenly felt sad because his mother had turned into ashes. Suddenly, someone attacked him, but luckily, he managed to dodge it. When he broke the sword, he quickly attacked the enemy. Lien asked him how he got in there, and was surprised when the child called this man as her father. It was here that he remembered Chirong, and his hunch was confirmed because it turned out that Chirong possessed the body of the child's father. Since the child begged him, he was forced to let the man go. Chirong continued to tease him, until he could not hold back anymore and used his sword on him. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss new uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.